talk about bras and breasts. Some people find that an uncomfortable subject to talk about. Some people even find it something to joke about. But for women in high-stakes roles, trivializing this subject comes at the cost of pain, injury, and stifled performance in jobs where mistakes can be fatal. This became real to me when 3 high school students I mentored entered the military. All of them told me how badly body armor hurt their bodies and limited their natural abilities. For example, one young woman named Ka, who is of Southeast Asian descent and petite, said that when she would wear her body armor and have to dive to the ground, it would come up, hit the back of her helmet, and tilt her helmet over her eyes so she couldn't see. She either had to bring her armor down or just take her helmet off. On top of that, her armor was too wide at the shoulder, so she couldn't seat her weapon, and instead she had to use her bicep, and her bicep was completely bruised. On top of that, the heavy armor crushed her breasts underneath. The more military women I talked to, the more stories like this I heard, and frankly, this is ridiculous for women who are courageous enough to be soldiers to suffer, simply because their body armor doesn't fit and wasn't designed for them. I can't change the job demands, but I can improve their comfort. This is an example of body armor that law enforcement would wear. It goes on over the head, has a panel on the front, panel on the back, Velcros on the side. For women, this armor sits on the shoulders, and it sits on delicate breast tissue. Breasts are not built to support additional weight. They're only connected to the chest by fine hair-like ligaments, and most of their support actually comes from the skin. On top of that, bras are not built to hold additional weight. So because of that, women armor wearers say the hardest thing they do in armor is running. If you've ever run with a backpack on, then you know what it's like. You take a step, and when you're mid-stride, you feel the weight of the backpack come up off your shoulders. You take a step down, and a split second later, you feel the armor come back down with some additional force on your shoulders. The backpack's resistance to that change in motion causes it to bounce off cadence with your body as you're running. That severely hinders your speed, but you can hold it and try to get it not to bounce, but then you can't move any faster. In the case of armor, you can Velcro it tighter, but then you can't breathe. So think of that experience, but then understand that armor is bouncing on delicate breast tissue, and it is painful. We commonly talk about workers who suffer musculoskeletal discomfort like neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain, wrist pain. But we consistently overlook an example of musculoskeletal discomfort that's prevalent in 70% of the female population. That is breast pain. Breast pain results from multiple contributing factors, including inadequate bra support. Across all women, there is a well-established direct relationship between breast movement and breast pain. That movement and subsequent pain is amplified in occupations where breast must bear part of the weight load of torso-borne PPE. This is more than a problem for our soldiers. This is also a problem for our nation's first responders. Occupational circumstances for our nation's first responders are increasingly hazardous, and more jobs now require the use of body armor, with firefighters and EMTs also joining law enforcement and wearing armor on the job. At the same time, more women are stepping into these first responder positions. And right now, the largest proportion of women in first response is in EMTs, where 30% of EMTs are women. Law enforcement has a federal initiative that's looking to increase the number of women law enforcement agents to the same amount by 2030. So as more women enter into the field, it becomes critical to address and tackle this musculoskeletal issue for recruitment, for retention, for career longevity, and for protecting those who protect us. Unfortunately, the body armor that we see in movies isn't available in real life. Body armor in the movies is lightweight, form-fitting, flexible, but in real life, body armor is rigid or semi-rigid, bulky, hot, heavy. So when it comes to wearing vests, one of the things we've got to look at is how we can make women more comfortable. So let's look at this from an ergonomics perspective. When I say ergonomics, you may think of keyboards and chairs, but ergonomics is actually designing work and equipment to fit the person doing the job, to make them more efficient and effective, both physically and cognitively. We know that from cognitive ergonomics that pain drains attention. If you have pain and discomfort, pain drains attention. So think about if you're at work with a bad headache, you know how hard it is to fully focus on what you're doing and how much less efficient your actions become. So when you need help from a first responder, the last thing you want is from pain and discomfort from their armor to steal away attentional resources away from you. All of their energy should be free and available to help those who depend on them. Because this isn't just their job or something they need to deal with. This is something that really impacts you as well. So what can we do? What can we optimize about this system? The answer is under the PPE itself, the bra. 75 to 85% of women, it's shown in multiple studies, wear the wrong size bra. And that doesn't even account for the right type. So the wrong size, the wrong support, both cause physical activity to be difficult, and the impact is measurable. In a 2020 study in the United Kingdom, they found female runners who are running and experience breast movement shorten their stride. And in the case of a marathon, it experienced strain equivalent to an extra mile. Running in armor is worse. In a 2022 study by the United Kingdom, they asked their women law enforcement officers whether they found running easy or difficult. 17% said running was easy. But when those same women were fit with the right size and type of bra for their body, 83% said running was easy. That's a 66% increase by changing just one thing, the bra. So in my dissertation research, I asked women law enforcement officers in the US about their armor wearing experience because armor in the UK is much different than that in the US. And I asked them all sorts of questions. I asked, what kind of armor do you wear? How many years have you worn it? How many hours a day do you wear it? And I also asked a question that everyone avoids, even though it has everything to do with the fit of torso-borne PPE. I asked them, what size and type of bra do you wear to work? I had 979 responses from 44 states from women wearing armor. But I was really concerned with what they wrote in the comments. More than 300 sent me comments. Most of them complained about the heat and the sweat from body armor. This armor, the materials in it, degrade with moisture, so it is sealed inside a waterproof barrier. For that reason, there's nowhere for body heat and sweat to escape. Bras reside on the major sweat glands on the female torso, which is the central back and between and under the breasts. So the bras absorb the sweat and hold that moisture right next to the skin. For that reason, many women emphasize how they are constantly battling chafing, heat rash, skin infection because of their armor. That is more than uncomfortable. That is itchy, persistent, painful. One woman said to mitigate the problem, she folds up handkerchiefs, puts them inside her bra, and that helps absorb the sweat, but also alleviates the chafing between the bra band and her skin. Another woman said she soaks floral foam, freezes it, and then stuffs it inside her vest to keep her cool on duty. These are not minor inconveniences. Here's where this comes back to choosing the right bra. I asked these women, do you wear an underwire, wireless, or no bra under your armor? I also asked them, do you find certain policing activities easy or difficult? 11% said they don't wear a bra under their armor. But those women were 3 times more likely to say policing activities like sitting, driving, self-defense moves were easy compared to those who wore underwire. On the other side, the underwire wearers were 3 times more likely to say those activities were difficult. This information should be part of ergonomic considerations for personal protective equipment. If an intervention like the bra can improve comfort, conserve energy, and help worker health, that's ergonomics. But we've never considered the bra as an ergonomic variable until now. It's faux pas to talk about at work what bra characteristics might work best for physical occupations, but the empirical evidence is there, and it's important for worker health. So as I did my research and I looked into all these different aspects of the armor, I looked into what's the most practical thing that we can do? What can we do here? So I looked more into the research and I found that this is not a minor problem. This is everywhere. Women in armor should not be constrained or in pain from their work experience. When I looked at the research, only one said her armor did not cause her pain. One. All the rest of the 979 women had some combination of neck, shoulder, back, breast pain. 74% said they suffer from breast pain. Courageous women should not be constrained or in pain from their personal protective equipment. So let's change that. It starts with something very practical, understanding breast support. Most women don't know there are actually 3 types of bras, and the right type depends on the individual and the activity. So when I say sports bra, likely the first one that comes to mind is the compression bra that goes over your head and compresses the chest to the chest wall. One of the other types may be suitable for other people, either encapsulation or hybrid. Encapsulation separates the breasts and supports them separately, while hybrid uses both encapsulation and compression for maximum movement control. This information is the beginning of a proactive conversation about ergonomics. And first responders and soldiers aren't the only ones who can benefit. Think about surgical teams who use live radiology in their surgeries and must wear heavy lead aprons that go from the neck to the knee. That is another place you do not want attentional resources taken away from the task at hand. You want all those energies right on the patient. I started this journey because of women like Ka, who are courageous and trained and capable, but who can't do their job because their armor or their protective equipment doesn't fit. Her story shows us 2 solutions to the problem. One is designing protective equipment that fits women, and the other is considering the interface between the female chest and the protective equipment is a key ergonomic factor. When we ignore bras and breasts, we accept pain as a price women pay to do these jobs. But good ergonomic design comes at the intersection of courage and comfort, of protection and performance. I'm asking you to be brave too. Let's take the conversation of bras and breasts out of conversations rooted in objectification, and let's take them into conversations about ergonomics, work health, and dignity. Thank you.